Have you ever signed a contract that felt more like a sacred vow? You know,
Mm.
the kind that binds you not just legally, but morally and emotionally?
Oh, yeah.
That's the power of a covenant.
Hmm.
And today we're diving deep into perhaps one of the most famous covenants in history, the one made between God and the Israelites, as detailed in Exodus 24.
Yeah, it's amazing how the story set on Mount Sinai thousands of years ago still resonates with such power today. It's not just about ancient history, it's about commitment, trust, and the yearning for something bigger than ourselves.
Right. Okay, so let's unpack this. We've got the Israelites led by Moses gathered at the foot of Mount Sinai. What unfolds is a ceremony packed with symbolism. We're talking an altar, sacrifices, a book of laws, and a pretty dramatic blood ritual.
Right, and that blood ritual is key. Imagine the blood being sprinkled on both the altar representing God and the people themselves. It's a vivid image that gets across the gravity of their commitment, this two-way bond they're entering into.
Yeah. And the Israelites, they don't hold back on their enthusiasm.
Hmm.
They literally declare all that the Lord has said we will do. Talk about a bold statement. You can almost feel the weight of that collective agreement, the sense of accountability that rippled through the community.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Do we still make commitments with that level of conviction today? In our personal lives, our work, our relationships, are we willing to step up and declare without a shadow of a doubt, I'm all in?
That's a powerful question. And I think one that challenges us to examine our own level of commitment. But the story doesn't end there. Exodus 24 takes us even deeper. Moses, Aaron, and the elders have this mind-blowing experience. They actually see God.
Well, what's really shocking here is that their commitment wasn't just blind faith. It was born out of a direct, awe-inspiring experience. The text describes God standing on something resembling a sapphire pavement radiating pure light. It's a visceral image that must have been absolutely transformative.
Imagine having an experience that shakes your entire worldview, makes you see everything in a new light. Have you ever felt that kind of shift in your own life? Maybe a moment of profound connection with nature, a life-altering event, or a sudden realization of a deeply held truth.
Those moments, those glimpses of something bigger than ourselves can be incredibly powerful. They shape our beliefs, inspire us to strive for something more, and lay the foundation for the commitments we make.
Speaking of striving for something more, let's talk about Moses. This guy goes up the mountain alone to receive the Ten Commandments. We're talking isolation preparation and the immense weight of responsibility that comes with leading an entire nation.
It's such a powerful image of the sacrifices and dedication required of true leadership. 40 days and 40 nights on that mountain.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the level of focus and commitment that must have taken?
It makes you wonder, what did he do up there all that time? Meditate? Wrestle with angels? Whatever it was, it clearly speaks volumes about the inner strength and preparation needed to lead others effectively. So it's incredible how this ancient story still speaks to us today. It begs the question, how do the Israelites' commitment and the covenant they made relate to our modern lives?
It really is a fascinating link, isn't it? Their willingness to follow a set of principles, their shared commitment to something larger than themselves. It speaks volumes about the power of values. In a way, it's like a blueprint for building strong, cohesive communities.
I see what you mean. Like when we agree on a common set of values, when we hold ourselves and each other accountable to those principles, it creates this sense of unity and purpose. It's like a shared compass that guides our decisions and actions.
Exactly. It's like establishing a code of ethics in a company, setting clear expectations within a family, or even defining the principles that guide a friendship. These shared agreements, these modern-day covenants, they help us navigate challenges, build trust, and work together towards common goals.
Absolutely. What about the role of rituals? We talked about the Israelites' sacrifices and their altars, these outward expressions of their inner commitment.
Yeah.
Do you think we have similar rituals in our modern lives that serve that same purpose?
Absolutely. Maybe not animal sacrifices, but we certainly have our own ways of expressing and reinforcing our values. Think about mindfulness practices, meditation, even something as simple as a family tradition. These rituals, whether they're secular or spiritual, they give us a framework for reflection, connection, and reaffirmation of our beliefs.
It's like creating these intentional moments, these pauses in the everyday rush that remind us of what truly matters. They help us stay grounded, cultivate gratitude, and reinforce those commitments we've made to ourselves and to others.
Right, and let's not forget the element of awe and reverence. The Israelites had their encounter with God on the mountaintop, a profoundly transformative experience. But can we tap into something similar in our own lives, even without a divine manifestation?
I think so. It's about recognizing the sacredness in our everyday experiences, in our relationships, and in the world around us. Appreciating the beauty, the wonder, and even the mystery that surrounds us.
You've hit the nail on the head. Cultivating that sense of awe and reverence, whether through our connection with nature, our relationships, or our personal beliefs, it enriches our lives in ways we can't even measure. It's about looking beyond the mundane, seeing the inherent value in everything, and choosing to approach life with a sense of wonder.
It's about choosing to see the world through a lens of gratitude rather than taking it all for granted.
Exactly. And finally, let's circle back to Moses standing alone on that mountaintop. What can his experience teach us about leadership in our modern world?
Well, it's clear that true leadership demands preparation, reflection, and a deep understanding of the responsibilities we shoulder when guiding others.
It also highlights the importance of seeking guidance, of carving out time to connect with our inner wisdom, with mentors, or with whatever inspires us. Remember, Moses didn't just randomly climb that mountain. He was called to it, and he dedicated 40 days and 40 nights to preparing for the monumental task ahead.
It's a powerful reminder that true leadership isn't about wielding power or seeking personal gain. It's about service, about putting the needs of others before our own, and about leading with integrity, clarity, and a deep sense of purpose.
Just like Moses descending from the mountain carrying the weight of the Ten Commandments and the hopes of his people.
Okay, so we've spent this deep dive exploring this incredible story in Exodus 24, this covenant between God and the Israelites on Mount Sinai, this dramatic ceremony, those bold declarations, and even a face-to-face encounter with the divine. But how does all of this ancient history connect with our lives today?
That's what's so fascinating about these stories. They contain these timeless truths that transcend time and culture. They offer wisdom and insights that we can still apply to our modern lives, even thousands of years later.
I like that. So give it to me straight. What are the key takeaways from Exodus 24? How do we apply these ancient principles to the challenges and opportunities we face in the 21st century?
Well, I think one of the most powerful lessons is the importance of conscious commitment. The Israelites didn't just passively agree to follow God's laws. They made a deliberate, public, and even dramatic declaration of their commitment. It wasn't just a mental assent, it was a full-bodied yes.
I see what you mean. It's about really owning the commitments we make, understanding the implications, and stepping into them with intention and clarity.
Exactly. And that level of intentionality applies not just to the big life-altering commitments, but also to the smaller everyday agreements we make, whether it's a promise to a friend, a commitment to a project at work, or even a personal goal we set for ourselves. Bringing that level of awareness and intentionality can make all the difference.
It's like we're elevating those everyday agreements to something more meaningful. We imbue them with a sense of purpose and accountability.
Precisely. And this leads us to another key takeaway: the power of shared values. The covenant between God and the Israelites was based on a set of principles, a code of conduct that guided their community. It was their shared compass, their blueprint for living in harmony with each other and with the divine.
So how do we translate that into our modern context? It's not like we have a single set of divinely ordained laws to follow anymore.
That's true, but we do have the power to define our own values both individually and collectively. Think about the values that guide your own life, the principles you hold dear. Now think about the shared values that unite your family, your community, or even the organizations you're part of.
It's about consciously choosing the principles we want to live by and then actively aligning our actions with those principles, creating a framework that supports our growth, our relationships, and our contributions to the world.
Beautifully put. And finally, let's not forget the lesson in leadership that Moses embodies. He went up the mountain alone, seeking guidance, preparing himself for the enormous responsibility of leading his people. It reminds us that true leadership requires introspection, courage, and a willingness to serve something larger than ourselves.
Yeah, that image of Moses standing on that mountaintop,
Mm-hmm.
a solitary figure shouldering the weight of his people's hopes and dreams. It's powerful.
It is, and it speaks to the leader within each of us, whether we're leading a team, a family, a movement, or simply leading ourselves through the complexities of life. We can all draw inspiration from Moses' example.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Exodus 24, I want to leave our listeners with this.
Sure.
Imagine you're standing on your own metaphorical mountaintop. What values would you inscribe on your personal covenant? What commitments would you make to yourself, to those you love, and to the world around you? Because ultimately, it's our choices, our values, and the way we choose to lead our lives that define who we truly are.